This right here is the Japanese Sega Saturn. And as you can see here, there's a few accessories sitting right beside the Japanese Sega Saturn. This just happens to be the 3D Sega Saturn controller. And we are going to be using the 3D Saturn controller today to play the game that we will be playing. Unfortunately, we can't use the joystick, so on the bottom there's a switch. You can switch between the joystick and the D-pad, as you can see right there. So today we will be using the D-pad. And this right here is a cartridge, Action Replay, which allows us to play imports. Now, since this is a Japanese console, American games are considered imports. So today we will be playing an American Sega Saturn game. And this is how it goes into Sega Saturn. There's a little cartridge slot back here. And this will be the game that we're playing today, the American version of Sonic 3D Blast. Now, some people say that the Sega Genesis version is better, but I have a feeling that the Sega Saturn version is better. And we will check it out, and we will determine which one is better. As you can see right here, the label is very nice. Let's pop this in the Sega Saturn real quick. And we are going to be playing Sonic 3D Blast. So as you can see here, this is the Japanese Sega Saturn startup, which is very different from the American. And this is the Action Replay, which allows us to play imported games. Which in this case, American games are considered imports on my console. It has a little memory storage where I keep all my games stored, all my saved games, as you can see there. Let's see if we can start this up. Hopefully it works. Now, if you have an American console and you want to play Japanese games, this is basically all you need. It's the Action Replay cartridge, and you just pop it in, and it will allow you to play Japanese games. Now, I bought this on eBay, and for some reason when I buy American Sega Saturn games on eBay, I have bad luck. Usually the games show up, they're scratched. Oops. I buy Japanese games in their perfect condition. Now here's the title screen, which is very nice and colorful. Different from the Sega Genesis one. Here's the menu, which is also different. You have a little sound test if you want to listen to the music and stuff. Now this allows you to listen to the sound effects and the background music. Let's start the game and check the game out. Now the loading might take a little while to load because the disc does have scratches on it, like I mentioned before. For whatever reason, American buyers love to sell messed up games. Or American sellers, that is. They love to sell messed up games. Now here we go, we're actually in the game right here. As you can see, the textures look a little better than this Genesis version. Now, check this out. The bridge is actually 3D polygons. So right off the bat, you can see there's a noticeable difference. I actually think that's pretty cool. Another noticeable difference right away is the music. The music sounds awesome on the Sega Saturn version. This actually had a soundtrack. Now with the soundtrack, I believe the Japanese version has a different soundtrack. I'm not sure because I never played the Japanese version. 90% of my games are Japanese, but I don't own Sonic 3D Blast, the Japanese version, only the American version. I think the American version has a great soundtrack. Now, as mentioned before, I'm using a 3D controller, not the joystick portion of it, but the D-pad. And it's a little difficult to control. I probably should have used the regular standard Sega Saturn controller. If you're new to this game, basically you have to collect the flickies, which are birds. And then you have to return them to this ring that's... well, you'll see there's a ring that you have to jump up towards. Right now I have 5 flickies, so the ring is over here somewhere. Right over here, this ring. You have to throw them in the ring, then you can advance to the next stage. So now we're moving on to the next portion. And the music, I really like the music. It's way better than the Genesis music. I think Traveler's Tales did a really good job at porting this to Sega Saturn. The music, the graphics looks a hell of a lot nicer. It's definitely a great game for the Sega Saturn. Let's check out the next level. I'm gonna skip over this portion of the game so you guys can actually see what the next portion looks like. Okay, so this is basically what the next world looks like. As you can see, the little tiles on the ground actually have a 3D type of look to it when you walk on them, and they actually look like they're out of place. Like they're popping out of the ground, which is pretty cool. So just like the first world, this world also looks a lot more polished, a lot more nicer than the Genesis version. Now, I actually own the Genesis version also. It's not a bad game. It's very good on the Genesis. But this is definitely the best version of Sonic 3D Blast. Some people try to say that the Sega Genesis version is the best. I'm gonna have to disagree with you because you basically had the same game on the Genesis, on the Saturn right here, with better graphics, better sound, better animation. There's no way that the Genesis version is the best. The Saturn version is way more superior. As you can see, sometimes when you try to get the flickies, you have to kill the enemies. But it's very hard to jump on them, so you have to actually do a spin dash in order to kill them. Just like in the Sega Saturn version. It is possible to jump on them, but you have to be really good at the game. This is something that's pretty cool. Where you have to stand on that platform, then you end up turning into some spinning type of thing. As you can see, I'm trying to get to the bonus level, but I keep losing my rings. I keep having bad luck with that, so... Just wait till you guys see the bonus stage. It's great. It's way different than the Sega Genesis version. As you can see here, I messed up again. It's been a while since I played this game. But when I do play this game, the last time I played it was the Genesis version. But I feel like the Saturn version it feels better when you play it. There's something about the Saturn version that I prefer over the Genesis version. As you can see here, yeah, it actually has a nice atmosphere look to it with fog. The environment changed completely, which is nice. Okay, so basically here we have to stand on that spinning platform. We have to carefully go over in this direction. And once you reach those pillars, you can actually break the pillars. Right over here. Just get right through over here. I just got myself a flicky. Now there's a little tidbit for some people that don't know about flickies. Flickies actually existed before Sonic the Hedgehog existed. Because back in the arcades in the 80s, Sega actually had a flicky game. So somehow, some way, Sega decided to tie flickies and Sonic the Hedgehog together. Which is very interesting. There's also a flickies game on the Sega Genesis, which is somewhat rare. It'll cost you quite a bit if you try to buy it. Probably around $20, $25 for the cartridge by itself. Now in the flickies game, it basically... It's almost similar to this game, except it looks like Joust or something. You have to run around, you're a bird. You have to collect all the other birds and save them. If I remember correctly, because I haven't played that game in a while, but I did play it at one time. Now if I can make it down here without dying. I have exactly 50 rings, which will allow me to have a bonus level. Have to be very careful. And here we go. We're going to see what the bonus stage looks like. Now, in my opinion, the bonus stage alone definitely sticks out in this game as demonstrating how this game is superior than the Sega Genesis version, as you can see here. It's fully 3D rendered and it looks very nice. Now the goal is to collect 50 rings. The controls are very nice on this bonus stage. It's actually not that hard. Surprisingly, it's actually easier than Sonic R. So it makes me wonder, like, if they used the same mechanics in Sonic R, the game could have been easier. If you guys don't know what Sonic R is, I previously reviewed Sonic R if you want to check it out. Now the bonus stage is nice and vibrant, the colors are nice. Sonic the Hedgehog, the model, the character is very nice. As you can see once you get down here, you're going to see a gem. And you can actually see Sonic the Hedgehog's eyes moving once they show a front view of him, which is pretty impressive for the Sega Saturn. Now I'm going to stop it right here because this game goes on and on and on for probably a good couple hours at least. You can probably beat it within 2 or 3 hours. But I'm going to go on the record as saying that this game is better than the Sega Genesis version. And if you do have a Sega Saturn, I do recommend that you get this game if you like Sonic the Hedgehog. Or if you liked the Sega Genesis version, I do recommend that you try this version out. Number one, it has better music. The graphics are better. The bonus stage is much better. And as you can see, the game runs smoother. It feels, for some reason, it feels better to me on the Saturn when you play it. So all the way around, the game is much better. Now, I've seen people that say that the Saturn version is not that good, but don't believe in what they say. This is definitely the superior version of Sonic 3D Blast.